What is up, everybody? Chris, the old-ass retro gamer here, back with another video game collection live stream. This one's going to be a long one, just like when it came to the PlayStation 2, because this is going to be the series of live streams that's going to prove once and for all that I really have a spending problem. Yep. So today I'm talking about my PlayStation 4 collection. It's the largest collection I have, and I haven't played a whole lot of them because I don't have that much time, which is, as a collector, fine, whatever, but I should really be playing these games. I was playing my PlayStation 4 not 15 minutes ago. I was playing the Resident Evil 3 remake, and I keep on trying to fit in as much game time as I possibly can. It's just not enough hours in the day. But I say this in every live stream of these that I do, that this is not meant to brag. This is not meant to rub my nose in like my collection's bigger than yours, nanny nanny boo boo type shit. This is just to have a visual record of everything in my collection, just in case something happens, like a robbery or a fire. You know, when you see how many games I have, you'll wonder why the floor in my apartment hasn't collapsed yet. So it's just for that, and it's also new content for the channel, which is always good. So do I look completely washed out? Probably. Let me see here real quick. Same problem I was having last night. My forehead's fine. Whatever. I don't give a shit. So, PlayStation 4, my favorite console for this current generation. And it wasn't at first. I actually preferred my Wii U over my PlayStation 4 when I first got it. But it has eventually switched over, and now I prefer my PlayStation 4 by far, which is why I have as many games for it as I do. So many different ways to get games, too. It is region-free, therefore you can buy games from all different countries, and they will work perfectly fine on your console, and you don't have to get anything modded. You can download digital stuff. You can also buy physical, which is the way I do it, which is why I have all these games in my collection. I mean, duh. What's up, Matt? How's it going? Yeah, PlayStation 4 tonight, man. 3 videos. This is going to be 3 live streams just to cover all the games in my collection. You can also get, I've gotten games from every country in the world at some point. Like, I swear, I think I have an Australian game in here. I have one from China that's on the way right now. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. How's it going, Retro Heck? Welcome to the stream. Also, a lot of different ways to get games physically. Like, you just don't have to go to the local Best Buy or Target to get games. You can get them online. And specialty shops are a new thing, like Limited Run and Strictly Limited and stuff like that. Hard copy games. Lots of these digital games, which is not something that I'm a fan of. I hate digital games. I would rather install a game on my hard drive or install part of the game on my hard drive than just download the whole damn thing. And every game takes up, I don't know how many gigs each. I have the 1 terabyte PS4 Pro. And I think I'm able to have maybe 15 games on it at a time before I have to start erasing stuff. So I'd rather just get a physical copy. And a lot of these places do digital games on physical media, which is the way to go for me, which makes me very, very happy. It also means that I have less and less shelf space in my collection. So, like I said, 3 live streams dedicated specifically to this console. That's how many games I have. And I also made an executive decision about 5 minutes ago before I started streaming that I was not going to include the PlayStation VR games that I have in my collection in these PlayStation 4 videos. Because they're gonna get their own stream. I have so many of them. I'm just going to give them their own live stream because they deserve it. I played probably more of my PlayStation VR games than I have the games in my PlayStation 4 library. So that's a thing. So let's get into these games, everybody. So, like I said, Limited Run, 8-bit adventure anthology. Volume 1. I'm wondering if there ever will be a Volume 2, because this is focusing mostly on the Mac games that were released by Kemco Seika on the NES. These are the NES versions of these 3 particular games. It contains Shadowgate, The Uninvited, and Deja Vu. These are like point-and-click adventure games that I think originally came out on the Mac. And they were all ported over to the NES. They had to be changed in some ways because, you don't have a mouse or a keyboard on the NES. So it all had to be done on the control pad. And I remember playing Shadowgate back in the day to no end. It frustrated me as much as it enthralled me. I love horror and stuff like that, so it really appealed to me because it's like this, like you're in a castle and you're trying to find this wizard or something like that, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. And it's all about trial and error. And I loved it. At the same time, I hated it because, yes, the trial and error thing is good because you learn what to do the next time you get to that point, but that means currently you're probably going to die. And that would frustrate the hell out of me. But I never did get around to playing The Uninvited. That's one of the more expensive NES games out there right now. But I do own Deja Vu and Shadowgate on the NES proper. But I was going to stream this on Twitch when I was streaming last year. Never got around to it. I stopped streaming altogether. But I do need to get into this so I can actually play The Uninvited without having to emulate it, which is awesome. Put that there. Next up, we have another limited run game. That's 2064 Read-Only Memories. It's a point-and-click adventure game, also modern day, but it's all done with retro graphics, and it's kind of cyberpunky, which is right up my alley. I love cyberpunk. It's my favorite sci-fi subgenre. So that was the reason why I jumped on it when it went up for sale on limited run. And I haven't played it yet, but it says it's a cinematic experience with a robust voice cast, multiple endings, unlockable post-game content, and that kind of stuff. I hear it's also not that long, so probably good for a weekend playthrough. And I'm planning on trying to play some of these shorter games over the weekends whenever I can. This weekend I already have like 2 games that I'm planning to play through. One of them is definitely Resident Evil 3 Remake, which I'm playing right now. But I can't wait to jump into this one. I was also going to stream this. Never happened, though. Mecha. I haven't really gotten into the mecha stuff, but I haven't been exposed to a whole lot of it. Here is another one. I got this through limited run also. Wow, the first 3 games I'm going to talk about are through limited run. Arrow. I haven't played this. It's still sealed, but Captain Algebra praised it. Apparently, it's a rhythm game. And when this came out through limited run, it was at the point where I would just buy whatever the hell game they released that week. I didn't care. I was like trying to get a complete collection from limited run, and then they just started releasing so much stuff. I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm not made of money. And so I've been slowly going through my collection and picking out the limited run games that I don't really want anymore, but everyone tells me this one's pretty cool. Have not had a chance to play it yet. So like I said, it's a rhythm game, and it says it features music by, and I've not heard of any of these bands. Caddy B, Subhuman, Metzalodon, I think that's how that's pronounced. Prototypes, Barely Alive, Mr. Fiji Ouija, Astronaut, Habstract, Noisia. I know Noisia. They're on a Korn album. Neo Signal, Laura Dream, or Laura... what the hell? Some of the fonts on these are ridiculous. And Faux Pavilion. But I really need to get into it. I love rhythm games, so I'm glad to have that in the collection. I was talking about streaming that also, but I never did. Another limited run game! What the hell? Oh, no, this isn't. This is the wrong stack. Next up is Abzu. This is by, what is it called? That game company, I think. I think the people that created this were the ones that did Journey and Flower and Flow. And it's an underwater adventure game, but there's really not a whole lot like going on. It's just kind of like explore, and you find some cool stuff, and you keep on going. And there's like a sort of a plot going through it. I remember Metal Jesus talked about it, and he was just kind of like, I can't get into this game. I don't know what it is. And I was like, well, if you can't get into it, I probably will, because he didn't like Beyond Two Souls, and I absolutely love it. So I picked this up, used apparently. It's got labels all over the back of it. I must have gotten this online somewhere. I do not remember where. But it's another game that I hear is very short, so I need to start playing through these damn games. Okay, that's not going to get talked about because that's a VR game. Out of the way, Peck! Here's another VR game. Nope. Okay, so this one, I don't know if I have a box for it. No, I do not. Okay, I got this one through PlayAsia. PlayAsia's what it used to be one of my favorite places to get like indie titles and digital on physical before limited run. And the one I'm talking about here is Area, and it's the collector's edition. I played it for a day-ish, like a couple of hours one day, and I liked it. And if I remember correctly, it's like a dungeon crawler, but it's got music aspects to it. And I didn't play it that much that it left much of an impression, but I need to get back into it because I hear this is another game that is not all that long. And the cool thing about getting stuff through Play Asia is usually there's some extra content and you get a copy of the soundtrack with the game, which is pretty awesome. I need to get back into playing that one. Agony, the first non... Oh, no, Abzu was the other one. Sorry. Agony, I did stream this on Twitch, and I rage quit. So, I'm a huge fan of horror. I've mentioned it many, many times, and Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser, is one of my favorite films. So, when I hear that this game is like a walking simulator through hell, I was like all over it. I remember I was considering picking it up when it was announced and all that kind of stuff, and I just never pre-ordered it. But the day that it came out, I got an email randomly from Amazon saying, like, we think you might like this. You might want to buy it. So I was like, oh, yeah, that. And it was a discount. I mean, not discount. It was like a budget title game. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I picked it up. Eventually, I got around to streaming it. And it's clunky. And there's really not a whole lot of gameplay to it. There's a little bit of light combat you have to do. But it's just walking simulator and puzzle type stuff and avoiding, like there's some stealth stuff going on. You have to like avoid creatures that you know you're not going to be able to beat. I got pretty close to the end, I want to say. I was planning on streaming it or completing the game all in one stream. And I got pretty far and there was like this boss battle thing that I was doing in this one room. And I just couldn't beat the boss. I couldn't move fast enough. I just couldn't get away from it. I don't know what it was, but I tried it like a good 20 times and I said, nope, I'm done. And I just stopped the stream. So I'm going to say this game is pretty frustrating and I did not enjoy my time with it all that much. But eventually I might just try to go back and beat that boss. Maybe I'll need a year away from it in order to beat it. You know, come back with a fresh set of eyes, you know, a year later. But yeah, I can't really recommend it. It's not the greatest developed game ever. It's actually kind of like, feels like it's rushed. But a lot of boobies, a lot of wieners. So if you're into that kind of thing in your video games, this is the one for you. This is Alakeen's Gun. I picked this up at closing Toys R Us, and I got it for, I want to say 50% off the actual price. I think it was like 30, so I got it for like 15. And it's like a stealth cover shooter, if I remember correctly. I remember Cygnus Destroyer, I think, was talking about this one time, and I was kind of like, oh, that sounded kind of cool, so I picked it up because it was cheap, but I haven't played it yet because it's still sealed. This was the first game I ever bought for my PS4, and I bought it before I even had a PS4, and that's Alien Isolation, the Nostromo edition. I'm a huge fan of horror, sci-fi, yes, Alien franchise, you bet your ass, and while everyone seemed to have problems with other Alien games that have come down the pike within the last, like, 10 years, I did not. So I see a new game with the Alien brand on it. I'm going to buy it no matter what. And I was really excited for this one. And when I finally was able to play it, I absolutely loved it. This is unlike any of the other Alien games that have come before it because it's all about stealth. It's all about hiding and trying to escape things other than fighting them. Because you're playing as Ripley's daughter. She's out looking for answers as to what has happened to her mother. She's like, I think in her early 20s-ish in this, and she's on a space station, and an alien has gotten loose, and you don't know where it is, so it feels like the first movie, because it's like you against the alien, and you're completely overpowered no matter what's going on. There's also rogue simulants roaming the ship that are out to kill you, too. So you got two different threats to worry about. You got to hide from the alien because there's no way you're going to be able to beat this thing. And then you got to figure out ways to either avoid the simulants or kill them. And it's really, really fun. And it's scary and it's tense. And there's a few times where I jumped and I still need to complete it. I got distracted by all these other games I was buying when I ended up getting a PlayStation 4. I was like, all these new games, I must try them all. And this one just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But I got pretty far in it and I really enjoyed it. So I need to get back into it and complete it. This is a limited run game, Alone with You. It's a sci-fi romance adventure. I have no idea what it actually is. It says more than a dozen missions, 4 special companions, multiple endings, branching conversations. Sci-fi game for people who love adventure, exploring, and maybe even a little romance. Aww. Haven't had a chance to play it yet. It's still sealed. VR game? No. VR game? No. Another World, the 20th Anniversary Edition. In the US, this was known as Out of This World. And I did have the Super Nintendo version of this back in the day. It was an Amiga game, I want to say. And it was one of the first games that was like trying to be cinematic and using nothing but polygons and not sprites. And it was super impressive, even though it ran slower than molasses in winter on the Super Nintendo. And I have the 3DO version of it as well, which is pretty awesome. It runs at a way faster pace and all that. But I do believe this was a digital... Yeah, I got this from Limited Run. That's why it was digital. I remember when this came out digitally, I was tempted, very, very tempted to purchase it, but I didn't. I'm glad that I held to my guns, because when this was announced through Limited Run, I was like, yes, that's how I'm going to do it. 20th Anniversary Edition. I don't know what is different about it other than maybe some better graphics. I don't know if it's been completely remastered. It just looks like it's a little bit more detailed. We'll see. I'll eventually get through to playing it. I was watching Carrie Madonna on Twitch. I think she tries to speed run this a lot, and it's fun watching her do it. Antiquia Lost. This is another limited run game, and it's an old school RPG, and haven't got around to playing it yet because it's still sealed, so I can just show you pictures of it on the back. And yeah, it looks like a standard turn-based JRPG type game. And like I was trying to get RPGs for the console at the very beginning because we weren't getting very many. What? Chris, open your mouth. Enunciate. What company did I get this one from? I cannot... Hard Copy Games. So I remember I was on Facebook and I saw an ad for this game and I was like, what is that? I need to see what it is. So I went to the website, looked it up, and this was like a limited release that they were that was being offered through their website. And I was kind of intrigued, so I jumped at it. And it's called The Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human. It's like a... To me, it looks like a Commodore 64 game. And everyone, or even on the back, it says, Shadow of the Colossus of the Sea. I need more games like this in my life. And it's an underwater game. You're playing as a guy in a submarine, and I do believe it's just a bunch of random boss battles over and over again. And it just sounded pretty fun, and I was planning on streaming this as well. I actually, the week that I decided I was going to stop streaming on Twitch, this was the game I was going to play. And I just never got around to it. It's still installed on my PS4. I just never streamed it, so I need to try it out because it looks interesting, which is why I purchased it. So it's giant pictures of you fighting giant squids and other undersea animals and stuff like that, so that looked pretty rad. And it was pretty cheap also, which is nice, especially for the pocketbook. Origami Collector's Edition, or Origami? Did I say Origami? Origami. Includes a digital soundtrack and a digital art book. Ooh! I haven't played this, but it looks like a stealth game. It looks kind of like Assassin's Creed. Control the shadows! The undead assassin with the power to control the shadows. That sounds kind of cool. I know there was like an edition that came in a bigger box, which I never saw until after I'd purchased this, but whatever. And I know another one of those digital to physical companies released like a special edition of this as well. Maybe it was limited run. I got this through like Amazon or something, so whatever. I got this when I was in LA visiting my brother. Haven't had a chance to play it. It's still sealed. It's called Arcania, The Complete Tale. So it's all the DLC that was available for this, and it looks to me like a dungeon crawler? I can't tell. Yeah, I think it's a dungeon crawler. The reason I bought this was when I was in LA, this was like $5. And that's why I picked it up. So I was trying to buy games while I was out there, and I never really saw this all that often out by me in Chicago. So when I saw this at I think it was a Target that we went to, and this was like on sale for $5, I was like, yeah, give it to me. You know, I'll take a $5 PS4 game. You ain't kidding. That's a VR game. Okay, so this one I have played. That's Assault Suit Lanos. It's a remake of a game that came out on the Genesis as... blah blah blah. I have it. Target Earth. I actually have it for the Genesis, and it's a complete remake. I mean, it's all new graphics and everything. And I played it a little bit, and it's kind of like playing Contra a little bit, but you're in a giant mech suit and you can fly a little bit. I had a lot of fun when I played, but it is hard, and then that's why I stopped playing it. But I need to get back to it. This is one of those games that's like all about memorization and everything. So It's old school with a new skin. I'm cool with it. I liked it. What I played of it, I really enjoyed it. Why can't I talk? Am I that exhausted? Am I that mentally exhausted? I think so. There's another limited run game. It's Asked to Breed, and I do believe this is an RPG. Finely tuned gameplay and guidance for newcomers to the genre. High-speed shooting game featured seamlessly with shifting perspective. It's a shmup. I love shmups. That's why I bought it then. Yeah, it's been, like, I've never played it. It's still sealed, but there had to have been a reason why I bought this one, and it's a shmup, and that's why it's... And it looks, now that I'm looking at the back of it, that looks freaking beautiful. Must play. Like I said, you're going to see that I have a problem. I buy games and I don't play them. I remember I got this at a local GameStop, and it was when they had one of those buy two used games, get one free. So I picked this up because it's connected to a franchise that I have a lot of games for. I have a lot of games in the franchise on my PlayStation 2. And this is Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book, RPG, really cutesy. JRPG stuff. Haven't played it because I want to play the other games in the franchise first. But the thing is, this is just kind of like the Tales games and stuff like that. I can't keep up with them fast enough because there's a ton of games in this franchise. Holy crap. Some of them deal with the same characters. Some of them are all new characters in each one. I mean, like the ones I have out there are Atelier Iris. This is Atelier Sophie. I know there's one with two girls' names in the title. That's a VR game. Okay, so the first one that has a gigantic box. So I talked about this in the Wii U live stream from 2 weeks ago, or was it 2 weeks ago? Axiom Verge. This is the Multiverse Edition. I pre-ordered this on Amazon. Axiom Verge was a digital-only game for the longest time. I was hoping that Limited Run would purchase the rights to it. And whenever I would make a video talking about Limited Run, I would always say I would hope Limited Run would get the rights to this digital game so they could release it physically. They never did until later. They eventually got the rights to the defunct Wii U version. But when it came to the PlayStation 4 and the Switch, it got released physically through other means. And it's a Metroidvania, and I love Metroidvanias. I had the soundtrack to this game long before I ever played the game. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. And it's fantastic. I heard so many good things about it that I was not going to pass that up when I saw the vinyl album go on sale on Amazon once. So, this Multiverse Edition not only comes with the game, awesome Metroidvania. I was streaming this on Twitch when I first got it, and I really liked it, and then I got stuck. I think I jacked up. I screwed something up. Like, I did not have an item I was supposed to get, and I managed to finagle my way into an area I wasn't supposed to get into yet, and I can't get back out. So, I'm kind of like stuck in the game, so I have to start over. And that's why I haven't played it since then. But Axiom Verge Making of Documentary comes with it, along with... there we go. The Art of Axiom Verge booklet. Pretty awesome. I love the artwork in this game, the art style itself, and it also comes with a poster. Everything that comes with the Wii U version also. Yeah, it comes with this poster, which is also a map, which I wish I had consulted this before I streamed it. But yeah, I love Metroidvanias, like I said, so I was not going to pass this up. This was the one game I was looking forward to the most on the Wii U, and it just never came. But like I said, eventually Limited Run bought the rights to the Wii U version and released it physically. And I have that as well because I like the game that much. I was willing to buy it twice. The next time I play through it, or when I start the game again, I might just play it on the Wii U. So, why not? Close, damn you! There we go. Alright. So, yeah. Axiom Verge, awesomeness. Next up is another limited run game, but I have played this on another console. This is The Bard's Tale ARPG, remastered and re-snarkled. This is a dungeon crawler. And it is absolutely fantastic. At least it was on the OG Xbox, which is what I still do have it for. I never got rid of my OG Xbox version, but getting a remastered version of it, hells to the yes. I liked it that much, I was willing to buy it again. And I love dungeon crawlers. That's one of my, my favorite genres. And this one I used to play with my friends. That was the Dungeons and Dragons one and the EverQuest. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Shit. I need to pop this open and try it out. See how it looks compared to the OG Xbox. And I just got this month. Talked about it last night in the recent pickups live stream, and that's the Bard's Tale 4, the Director's Cut, Day 1 edition. I got this off of a sale on Target last month, and it's absolutely fantastic looking. I have not played it, but it's another dungeon crawler in the series. We need to find a way to get Bard's Tale 2 and 3 over here, too. Were those ever turned into dungeon crawlers, or were the original two still those like point-and-click games for the PC? Because I think my dad had a Bard's Tale game for his Atari computer back in the day. But yeah, this comes with a lot of bonus content, and I can't wait to play through this, but I'm definitely going to be playing through that original one before I get to this. But it was cheap, so I said, why not? Let's get it. Here's another one I got through Limited Run. And here's the thing about this was, when this was released, they said random people that bought this game are going to receive a copy with the insert signed by the creator of the game. And I ended up being one of those random people that got one. Didn't think I would be, but I did. We're talking Bastion. This is a isometric adventure puzzle game, I think. Haven't had a chance to try it yet, but this is the signed version, signed by the creator of the game and someone else. Can't remember who. Maybe the person who composed the music or something. I don't know. But I keep on meaning to play this, and I never have gotten around to it. But I needed to open it up because I wanted to put the signed slip inside, so that's why. It's open and not still sealed. I still need to play this because I've played some of the other games in this franchise. Batman Arkham Knight. This is the 4th game in the series. And I have played both games on this. This is Batman Return to Arkham. I streamed Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City off of this copy last year on Twitch. And I had a blast doing it. I had never played these. Well, I had played about 20 minutes of Arkham Asylum when I first bought it, and I was so tired when I was playing it that as Batman is walking through the foyer and all that, when he's escorting the Joker into the asylum, and you're just kind of following along, listening to people talk and all this kind of stuff, and Joker, rambling and all that, I literally fell asleep sitting up. I was just kind of like, yeah, Joker's crazy. And I fell asleep, and I woke up, and I was getting my ass kicked. So I was like, oh no. And I just never went back to it. I don't know if it was that. I subconsciously thought the game was so boring that it would put me to sleep that I never went back to it, but it was a freaking mistake, because when I played through both games on this compilation, I was like, wow, I really missed out. I really liked Arkham Asylum. Arkham City was where it was at. I absolutely loved Arkham City. That's one of my favorite games of all time now. So there is that. And then there's Arkham Origins, which never got a remaster. That's what the Return to Arkham compilation is. It's the remastered first 2 games. Arkham Origins was released or developed by a different company called, I think, Rocksteady. Yeah, Rocksteady did these. Another company did Arkham Origins, and everyone seems to hate it because it wasn't developed by Rocksteady, even though everyone tells me it's actually a pretty decent game. Haven't played through that one yet. I need to hook up my PlayStation 3 so I could play through that before I play through Arkham Knight, the 4th game. And there's a 5th game on the way, too, from what it sounds like, so that's cool. Another VR game. This one I got through Limited Run also. Battle Garega Revision 2016. It's a shmup. I think it's a vertically scrolling shmup, and I haven't played it yet. Actually, this didn't show up too long ago. I want to say it was over the summer. And I remember this is based off of, I do believe, an arcade game or a Dreamcast game, one of the two. And I remember watching footage of it, and I was like, that looks pretty fun. I love me my shmups, so had to pick it up. VR game. Another Limited Run. A lot of these are from Limited Run. Haven't opened this one either. That's the problem I have with Limited Run games. I never know if I want to keep them or want to get rid of them. And so I keep them sealed until I'm dead set in knowing that I'm going to go and play it. Which is kind of sad, but it's just the way I am. Bit Trip presents Runner 2 Future Legend of Rhythm Alien. What does that even mean? I don't know. But it's like a one of those games where you're just constantly running and there's obstacles in your way and you have to jump over them, slide under them, whatever. And I wanted at least one of those types of games in my PlayStation 4 collection, so I picked this one up. There was a couple of variations of this too, with different covers and stuff. I was like, just give me the generic one. I don't care. I'm not that into that franchise. Whatever. Still haven't played this. I bought this dirt cheap off of Amazon last summer. It's called Black Hole Complete Edition. and it's like a puzzle platformer. And from what it sounds like, there's a lot of DLC that this came with. Story-driven platforming, yes, and it looks very puzzle heavy. So, but it's also like retro themed, so I picked it up. It was dirt cheap, so I said, why not? Still haven't gotten around to playing it. I have a problem, people. This I need to play. I definitely need to rip this open and play it. I'll do it right now, too. Why not? It's going to get played probably this weekend. Come on. There you go. There you go. Be a good boy. Yeah. Blazing Chrome. This one is like the Contra game we never knew we needed, from what I understand. Well, it's got a reversible cover, too. That is awesome. Yeah, this one came through Limited Run Games, and I remember everyone was asking me, are you going to buy Burning Chrome when it comes out this week? Are you going to buy Burning Chrome? And I was like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. So I looked it up. I remember Captain Algebra was hounding me about it. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's like Contra. So I definitely bought a copy of it off of Limited Run, and I cannot wait to play it. Now that I've opened it, I am now committed, officially. You have it on video, people. It's on the internet, therefore it is true. This one has a special box. And we're talking Bleed 1 and Bleed 2 limited edition. I got this through Play Asia. I was buying Play Asia stuff like you would not believe. And now that, like, you know, the shipping is kind of crazy from overseas, I've really stopped buying. Like, I haven't bought anything from Play Asia in over a year. I think the first time I bought something from them this month in April, and before that, it's probably been more than a year since I bought something from Play Asia, which is kind of sad. But anyway, so this limited edition comes with, the thing is, it's got, the reason this box is so freaking fat is because it comes with 2 games in it. You got Bleed 1 and Bleed 2, and they're like run and guns, and they look really fun. Radical Reggie was talking about them a lot. Still haven't had a chance to play them, as per the course. Got a 15th anniversary, 15 years of fan service sticker from Play Asia. Comes with a bunch of stickers. Who cares? And a bumper sticker. Who cares? A postcard to tell you out of 3,000 copies that they made, I got 2,378, so I'm pretty low on the list, or high on the list. And then it also comes with a soundtrack, which I should pop open and listen to, because I hear this game has actually pretty rad music. Need to play it. I would rather play it co-op, which is something I hear you can do in it. Am I right? Yeah, 1 to 2 players. I would love to play this co-op if I could, but, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's not like I can just ask a friend, hey, come on over so we can play some video games, and, you know, hopefully they won't die on the way over here. So there is that. That is a VR game. Next up, we have Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This is installed on my PS4, but I have not had a chance to play it yet because I want to beat Curse of the Moon before I play this, which I have for the Switch. So this was a crowd-funded game over on Kickstarter. I want to say back in like 2014, I think, is when the Kickstarter hit. I remember when it hit, and I just didn't feel confident that it would actually happen because I've been hearing all these horror stories about games that are being crowdfunded not actually happening. So I was like, yeah, no, I think I'll just wait. And if it's, you know, because it's a spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I was like, if it's as good as that game, it'll get a wide release. And I was right, because, yeah, the Kickstarter backers all got their copies, their special editions and what have you. But this also got a physical copy, or physical release, everywhere. So I ended up ordering this off of Amazon when I saw it go up for a pre-order. Only problem was I pre-ordered the Switch version. And it showed up in the mail. Thankfully, I didn't open it, because the moment it showed up in the mail is when I started hearing all the horror stories about how glitchy it was and how it would keep crashing everyone's Switches. So I was like, oh, I'm going to send this back and exchange it for the PS4 version, which is exactly what I did. But it looks like a clone of Symphony of the Night, which it is, but it's not its own spin on it. And I can't wait to be able to play through this. But like I said, I need to beat Circle of the Moon, which I am about halfway through. And I keep on, like, that's one of the games I'll play and then put it down for a little while. I'll put it down for a couple months, and then I'll play it for like a day and then put it down. Because it's like a Castlevania 3 clone, and it's, you know, hard like a Castlevania game on the NES is. This one, I think, also has a special box. Yes, it does. Another game I got off of PlayAsia. I got this because of Radical Reggie was bragging about it, and it sounded pretty awesome. Blue Rider, the limited edition. Haven't opened this one up because I'm stupid, but it's a vertically scrolling shmup. And it looks kind of like a shoot-'em-up, but I could be wrong. Fight against the robotic forces of evil in this classic shoot-'em-up game. Yep, keep buying these games and I just never get around to playing them. But what does this limited edition come with? I can say limited edition real fast and not get tongue-tied, but I say something like programmable last night and I can't even do it. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Another soundtrack, which I need to pop open and give it a listen. And it also comes with another one of those certificates to tell you what number yours is. Out of 2,500 copies, I have 996. So that one I'm pretty low on the list with. That's pretty awesome. Put this back. It's this problem with doing these live streams is now you got to sit there and watch me finagle with these things, trying to put them back in their boxes. Okay, that one was actually pretty easy. So how's everybody doing tonight? There's a few people in the stream. Everyone okay? Staying safe? Chicago tomorrow officially becomes a state where you are required to wear a face mask out in public. That's fine. I have one, so I'm good with that. Next up is another limited run game, and the funny thing about this is it was developed by the people who run limited run games, by their company Mighty Rabbit, and this is Breach and Clear Deadline. So the first game ever released through limited run was a game called Breach and Clear for the Vita. It was a game developed by Mighty Rabbit. The guys who created the game created limited run games to find a way to sell more copies of their game, because I guess it was available for digital download, and it wasn't a big hit, I guess. So they figured that maybe people would rather have it physically, so they started limited run games, and it kind of blew up. Now, Breach and Clear, I think, is one of the most expensive games from limited run games, if you want to get it aftermarket, which is kind of shitty. But they did make a sequel, but this one's all about zombies. It's like a top-down strategy game. And I played it briefly, and I thought it was okay, but it's very simplistic and kind of could use a little polish, I guess. But, like, it's a homebrew, so what do you expect? It's okay. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever, but, you know, whatever. Whatevs. Okay, next up is another limited run game, but I absolutely had to get this because it's by Double Fine and Tim Schafer, who is a god, and that is Broken Age. This is a adventure game, and I was watching Linda, aka the Gamer Girl, stream this earlier this month, I want to say, and it's like an old school point and click adventure type game. Except you don't really point and click on anything. You can actually just move your character around. So it's like an adventure game that reminds me a little bit of like playing something like Grim Fandango. And I really liked what I saw, and it was kind of funny, and there were like these 3 monks or something, and one of them turned out to be like a young girl who like stripped and flew away, and everyone was giggling about it in the stream, so that was pretty awesome. Haven't had a chance to open it yet, just never got around to playing it, like, because I have issues. But I need to play it because I absolutely love Tim Schafer. Here's another game I got in LA while visiting my brother. Got this for $5 as well. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, the Game of the Year edition with a bunch of bonus content on it. And it's like a puzzle platformer, if I remember correctly, because you're tethered together. These two characters, you know, you have to use each other to solve puzzles and stuff from what I remember reading. And I remember reading about it early on, and I was like, okay, I need that game when I can find a copy of it. And luckily, I found a copy of it at a Target for $5, so I picked this up. The other game I got outside of Brothers and Arcania is, what's that game for the PlayStation 3? Ride to Hell, the game that's like one of the worst games ever made. Or Ride to Hell Retribution, I think it's called. I found that for $5 there also for the PS3, and I was absolutely thrilled that I did. Okay, so Bubsy the Woolies Strike Back Perfect Edition. I played this briefly. I liked it. It's a decent Bubsy game, way better than Bubsy 3D. But the thing is, I got a lot of hate because of this game. I made an unboxing video of this on my channel, and because Radical Reggie kind of dared me to. I was talking to Reggie in a stream one night, and he was talking about like his new games that he had bought in a stream, and I was like, hey, are you going to do an unboxing of, or an unwrapping, break the seal of the new Bubsy game? And he's like, no, I'll leave that to you, dude. I ain't buying that. So I was like, all right, fine. And this had just showed up in the mail, like that day. So the next day, I filmed a break the seal of this, and I made it look like the game was so bad that when I opened it up, it created a nuclear holocaust, and it blew my face off and destroyed Chicago. And while this game survived like the cockroaches will, and this was just flying through the air, having Bubsy making stupid one-liners as it was like surviving the apocalypse, and I thought it was funny. A bunch of people, I think, expected me to be serious in the video and talking about the game itself, and I never did any of that because I died before I could. So I got like a lot of hate because of that, and I was just kind of like, that was just a joke video, people, get over it. But it's actually a decent Bubsy game. It's kind of like the original 2 games that came out for like the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. It's a side-scrolling, old-school platformer, and I liked it. And there's another game that came out after this, which I need to find too, but I need to actually complete that game. This one I was streaming on Twitch when I first got it because of the type of game it is. We don't get games in this genre very often anymore. And that is another game from Limited Run. This is The Bunker. It's an FMV game, a full motion video game, just like we used to get on the Sega CD and like the Saturn and the PlayStation back in the day, and the 3DO. And it's you play as this dude who's been locked in a bunker since he was a little kid. It was just him and his mom. And I do believe the mother was saying that there was some sort of an apocalypse above or something like that, and that's why they were locked in this basement or this bunker underground. But the mother had died at one point. Now the guy's alone, and he's kind of going stir crazy. And there's things that are breaking in the bunker, and he has to get them fixed. So there's kind of puzzle solving stuff. You got to pick things up, fix things. And I never completed it, but I liked it enough to want to keep it. I was basically playing it as a litmus test to see if I wanted to keep it or not when I streamed it. And I liked it a lot, and it reminded me why I enjoyed full motion video games back in the day anyway. The acting in it is actually pretty well done. Not a whole lot of quick time events, but it's a lot of trial and error type stuff too. Haven't played this one yet, and it's a damn shame. The Butcher, I got this from Limited Run, but I do believe this was being released from like another company, and Limited Run released it for them because their website was down or something like that, if I remember correctly. I cannot remember, but it's like a old school platformer from what it looks like. I haven't opened it yet, but it's like very metal from what I understand. It looks pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to try it. This one too, this is another one from Limited Run. This is a vertically scrolling shmup, and the video that I watched of this reminded me of like Castle Shikigami. That's Caladrius Blaze. Almost didn't get this game. It got lost in the mail at one point, and like the post office just completely misplaced it. And it really made me mad because I was really looking forward to playing this and whatever the other game was that came with it. Because 2 games are getting shipped at the same time, and it got lost. The USPS just completely lost and ended up having to get a replacement from Limited Run. Thankfully, they had extra copies, and I got a copy of it in the mail. And this is very heavy. I think I need to open it to find out what's in it. It's probably just a manual. Come on, people. Scissors, help me out. I'm opening all these games. Oh, yeah, it's just a manual. Oh, it's a manual and something else. So we got a manual and, an art book. That's kind of cool. That's different. Usually when it comes to Limited Run, one of the things I do enjoy about Limited Run games is they do, 95% of the time, the games that they release come with a manual, which is something that never happens anymore when you buy a game at the store. Nothing comes with manuals anymore, and I love the fact that we get full color ones through Limited Run. So that's cool that you get a little bonus with that also. So I'm thrilled about that completely. Started streaming this one on Twitch the day that it showed up. I think it was around Halloween that year. So what year was this? Was this last year? 2018. So yeah, this showed up in Halloween 2018, and I was like, this is going to be my Halloween game that I stream today. And Call of Cthulhu. And it turns out this is not a game you want to stream. It is a first-person game that takes place like in a H.P. Lovecraft universe. And you're a private investigator, as usual. And you have the ability to, it's like you have like psychometry, and you can touch things and you can see where they've been and who's been in the proximity of the item or whatever it is. And there's also a lot of crazy missing people shenanigans going on. And it's fun. I really enjoyed it. There's some platforming, there's some puzzles in it that are cool. It's just very slow. And I can imagine that watching somebody play this game is probably one of the most boring things ever. I was having fun playing it, but as a viewer, I was just kind of like, yeah, this was a bad choice. I should have just picked like a Splatterhouse or something to stream on Halloween. But it's cool. I need to get back to it. I have not played it since that night. Okay, now we're getting into controversial territory. What do I mean by that? Lightning rods of hate, people. Lightning rods of hate. I love this franchise, not because of an aspect that most people buy these games for, but because the aspect that people still don't seem to play these games for, and that's Call of Duty. I love the Call of Duty story modes. I play the games, I buy the games because of the story modes and the story modes alone. I do not play a multiplayer. I hate playing online first-person shooters online because they're online. I hate playing with these people that are like taking this shit so seriously, and they've been up for 48 hours straight trying to level up their characters and get all that cool gear, purchasing it all on day one, so everyone else sucks compared to them and they can just dominate the charts. I don't care. I just want to play a first-person shooter and have fun doing it. So we got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, the Day Zero Edition. This was one of my favorite games the year that it came out. I absolutely had a blast playing this one. I enjoyed the Modern Warfare games, especially Part 2, so seeing like one that's even further in the future with a lot of cool tech and stuff going on doesn't hurt that, pre-sexual assault allegations Kevin Spacey is in here, and he looks like he's having a blast playing the villain in this. So I really enjoyed myself. This is kind of like if you were to take Elysium and mix it with a Call of Duty game, because you got this exoskeleton thing that's really awesome. Absolutely loved this one. And then we have this that has a particular box to go along with it. Hang on. Give me 1 second, people. 1 second. Okay, so we got Call of Duty Ghosts. I have the Prestige Edition. And why do I have the Prestige Edition? These things cost how much when they were released? Oh, I know. It was like $200 or something, maybe more. The day that I bought my PlayStation 4, I do believe, there was a sale, like a flash sale on Amazon, and this discounts like $40. And I was like, I think I'll take it. So what does the Prestige Edition come with? Open up, damn you. A lot of really cool stuff, and you can see why this cost what it did. If I can remember how to open it. Oh, there we go. It's magnetically sealed. Oh! No! Don't go in the light! Okay. So it comes with this carrying case, but what does it carry in the case? It comes with what looks like a sniper scope, but it is actually like a GoPro. And it films at 1080p. And I remember when I first got this game, I was doing... See, it even has like a charger in here and all that. And I think there's a memory card in here too somewhere. I was doing another show on another YouTube channel called Toasty. And we were using this crappy 720p camera that I had at the time to film it. And my co-host was like, why don't you just use that 1080p camera that came with your Call of Duty Ghost? So I was like, I don't trust that thing. I don't even know. There's no viewfinder on it. I can't see what the hell I'm filming. So I didn't bother. So it comes with that. And it also came with the game in a steelbook, which is pretty rad looking. And it also came with this elastic what? I don't remember. Does it even say? A paracord strap. Okay. 1080p HD tactical camera. Comes with a season pass, 4 DLC map packs. Did not redeem that because I never wanted to play this online. Free fall dynamic bonus map. Comes with a bunch of digital content in the game, including the official soundtrack, which is pretty awesome. I never have even opened up this paracord strap thing. But like I said, $40 got me all this. And I'm thrilled to death that I did, even though I've never turned that... I turned that camera on once to see if it worked, and I never used it since. So, there's that. And I enjoyed the game a lot. I know a lot of people absolutely hate this one. I don't know if they're talking about the story mode or the online mode, but I enjoyed the story mode a lot. Especially the fact at the very beginning, there's like a whole level that's in 0G. I was like, this is the coolest first-person shooter moment I've ever had. I had a blast with it. I really enjoyed the characters in the game too. So this was another favorite. I mean, it's not the best one I've ever played, but it's like mid-tier, I guess. Then we have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This one was pretty cool. It was just really, really short. I liked the fact that there were branching paths in it. And it's kind of weird having Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow on Game of Thrones, play the bad guy, because he was like the least threatening villain ever in a video game. But I played through it, and I absolutely loved it. I had a blast with it. It's not the best game in this franchise either, but it was cool because there's like spaceship levels too, which is pretty rad. So I had a blast with it. Couldn't complain. My favorite of the current generation ones that I own is Call of Duty World War II. This one, I like the fact that they were just kind of like, you know what, we're going to go back to the original concept of these games. These were all World War II shooters trying to copy Medal of Honor at the time. And yeah, I was absolutely thrilled that they decided to go back to what they started off as. Hang on a second, my chat thing is acting funny. There we go. Boom. And I loved it. I got choked up at the end because I didn't realize how like involved and likable or involving the story was and the likable the characters were, so that when bad things start happening to them, I actually got choked up at one point in the big finale. I was just like, oh my god, why are you doing this to me, video game? And I absolutely had a blast with it. So my favorite story mode out of the current generation Call of Duty games. I have not played the remaster of Modern Warfare 1 or 2. I have not played Black Ops 4 because it's online only, so the hell with that game. That's never getting played. And yeah, I think that's it. So Call of Duty, I love it. No online for me. Now we have a game I got off of PlayAsia, and this is the Capcom Belt Action Collection, also known as the Beat 'em Up Collection, I think it was in the US. I got this cheaper than the Beat 'em Up Collection was, but I don't think the Beat 'em Up version actually got a physical release in the US, which is why I jumped on this when I could. This is a compilation of beat 'em up arcade games from Capcom, and the games on here are, excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. That Call of Duty Ghost has sat on a shelf for so long it is so dusty it made me sneeze. Okay, so what's on this Belt Action Collection is the original Final Fight, the King of Dragons, Knights of the Round, Powered Gear, Captain Commando, Battle Circuit, and I can never remember what this other one was called. Shit. It's the one with the, it's the one that's Japanese. It's like Dynasty Warrior-ish type stuff. Whatever. I've played and beaten every single game on this compilation, and I had a blast doing it. Actually, this is probably going to be the first game I ever platinumed on my PlayStation 4, because when it comes to the trophies that you can get, it's always like beat the game, you get a trophy, beat the game with every character. I don't know, I don't think there was a beat your game with every character. I think it was just beat every single game, play every game, and then you have to play each game at least once online with people. And that's the problem with this game, is not a lot of people play certain games in this compilation online. So I've got every single game I've played online with somebody, except the one that's the Japanese one whose name I cannot remember right now. No one ever plays that one online. So I'm kind of screwed. I'm never going to get the platinum for this then. It's the only trophy I still need to get. But I enjoyed every single one of these, some more than others. I remember the one with the robots. Which one was that? Powered Gear. Powered Gear was probably my favorite one because it was so unique. Because you're in a giant mech, and as you destroy other mechs, you can steal their parts to get new weapons and legs and stuff attached to your mech to make you more powerful. And it was so much fun being able to do that. And also, Battle Circuit was kind of unique because the characters are strange as hell. I highly recommend picking this one up. It is great. I loved it. Played every single game on there through. Talked about this one in, I think, March's pickup video. And it's Children of Morta. Haven't played it yet. It's pretty new, but it's a dungeon crawler. And the only reason I bought this, I talked about it in that pickup video, was a guy that I work with we're working at one day and we're talking video game stuff, and he was talking about a game that he was currently playing and how he was getting real frustrated because the final boss was really ticking him off, and he would have to go and do a lot of grinding in order to get to the level he needed to be at to beat the guy. So the stuff he was telling me about the game sounded really cool, so I was like, I think I need to look that one up. It sounds neat. And I thought that was Children of Morta. So I found it on eBay, and I was like, oh, look, it's only like $15. Give it to me. And it shows up, and I was like, hey, dude, I went to work the next day. I'm like, I think I bought that, or I bought that game that you were talking about. He goes, oh, this game? And he told me the name, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not the one I bought. So I ended up buying this mistakenly, but I'm not sad because Jason of Corpseful Gaming was telling me it's a dungeon crawler. You'll enjoy it, because I think he says he has it for the Switch. So there's that. Mistakenly buy it. This one I got through Limited Run. It is Claire Extended Cut. Haven't opened it yet, but it is I do believe a horror game. Yeah, it's another horror game, but it's done in pixel graphics, old school NES style. Haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it looked kind of interesting, and that's why I bought it. This one is actually pretty new too. Got this, I talked about this in the March pickups. Close to the Sun, got this through the Target sale that they were having. It was buy two, get one free. And it's a horror point-and-click type game, I do believe. In the first person, I think. But it's like everything is all about Nikola Tesla and how he's a bad guy. And Nikola Tesla has destroyed the world or something. Or something like that. And it just sounded really weird, so I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. Haven't had a chance to play yet. It's pretty new. Here's another one that has a special box. Pardon me. The Coma Recut Limited Edition. Got this from Play Asia. And it's a Korean horror game. And that looks like Anna de Armas's mouth. The girl from Knives Out. The medical technician that accidentally took out Christopher Plummer. Anyway, yeah, it's a horror game, and it's like you're a little kid that's trapped at his school, and his teacher has gone crazy and is trying to kill him, so there's a lot of like cat and mouse type stuff going on. And it always looked cool. Radical Reggie was always talking about it to me, and said that it was awesome, so I picked up a copy of it and just haven't gotten around to playing it yet. It's my greatest problem. Spend the money, don't reap the rewards. So this also comes with a soundtrack in this limited edition, and it also comes with one of those certificate numbers. This one I'm pretty low on. Out of 2,000 copies, I have 253, so that's pretty good. Need to definitely, like, this Halloween, I just need to start playing nothing but horror games for, like, the whole month, just because. Close, damn it. I command you! There we go. Oh, really? You're gonna do me like that, game? There we go. Where did I put the actual game? Oh, it's over here. Derp. Okay. VR game. No. Just got this one also. I talked about this in March. Contra Rogue Core. Locked and Loaded Edition. It's supposed to be the next big Contra game, but it's nothing like playing Contra. And this one is a twin-stick shooter instead of a side-scrolling platform shooting, like run and gun, which I think ticked off a lot of people who are die-hard fans of the franchise. I like Contra just fine. I don't mind them mixing it up a little bit now and then, but everyone seems to be basing it off more of the type of game it is rather than the merits of the game itself. But everyone tells me it's a really good game. It just doesn't. It shouldn't have the name Contra attached to it, and I don't care. I just want to play a fun game. And I got this really cheap online. Oh, no, I got this really cheap at GameStop. They had a buy two, get one free sale. And I think this was my free game. So that's pretty awesome. Another one from Limited Run, Corpse Killer. Another port of a FMV game from back in the day on the Sega CD. This got a Sega CD release, a 32X release, and also came out on the 3DO. And out of all the full motion video games that came out back then, this was one of the only ones I never owned back in the day. I think I had most, or if not all, except for maybe 2 or 3. And this was one of the 2 or 3 that I didn't have. And it's been completely remastered, and the video is full HD now, which is awesome instead of that grainy Sega CD garbage. And it's a first-person shooter type game. There's like... It's like an on-rail shooter, but everything is live action. If that makes sense. A lot of zombies and stuff. I remember this was like one of those that was so big it took up 2 discs. Haven't had a chance to play it yet, but that I hear is quite easy. I might just play through it just to get some achievements or some trophies or whatever. This is an RPG, a sci-fi old school RPG, which I need to play. Everyone says it reminds them a little bit of the original Phantasy Star or Phantasy Star 2. And that's Cosmic Star Heroine. Nintendo was trying to get a copy of this for the Switch, I do believe, because he was hearing so many good things about it. And from what it sounds like, he really enjoyed it, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. This is another one that is like super heavy. I want to see what is in here so bad, but I don't know if I want to open it just yet. Just talked about this last night in my pickup video. And Costume Quest 2, got this from Limited Run. I played the original game on my PS3. I downloaded it. It was one of the few games that I downloaded digitally for my console. Back then I didn't really mind. I wasn't really like a diehard collector like I am now. I was collecting games, but I wasn't like... I didn't care if I got it digitally or physically. That's basically it. I just wanted to play games. And I played through the first one, I think in one sitting. It took maybe like 4 or 5 hours or something like that. And it's a really cutesy adventure game. It's kind of like playing a non-adult version of South Park Stick of Truth. Light RPG elements, but he just plays a bunch of kids during Halloween, rollerblading around the neighborhood and doing like adventure-y type stuff, just like finding items, taking to somebody else. There's some fetch questy stuff. And it is really, really fun, and I thought it was adorable. I absolutely loved it. Didn't realize there was a second one until maybe like a month before this came out, and I was like, oh, do I really want to download that and play it since I enjoyed the first one so much? And I was like, no. And then, like, luckily, Limited Run was like, hey, guess what? We're selling this Friday. And I said, that's the way to do it. So I picked it up, and it just showed up earlier this month. So can't wait to play through that. Is there a Fort Knox vault to your left where all these games coming from? Yeah, I've got a nice little table set up next to me. Here's one that has a special box. Got this one, not from PlayAsia, but from, which company was this? Jesus. Is it Reserve? Yeah, Signature Edition. Is this Special Reserve? I cannot remember. But it's Count Lucanor. This is the Signature Edition of Count Lucanor. Haven't played it yet either, but it is a pseudo-horror game. You're this girl that's locked in like a vampire's castle, and it looks kind of like The Legend of Zelda, but like a horror version of Legend of Zelda. And I was really intrigued by it, and I was like really all about these like retro looking games, because at the time that this came out, I was like huge into playing Shovel Knight, and that was like where this whole rebirth of the retro game type thing happened. And I was like trying to get as many games of that type as I possibly could. Was not discriminating. I was buying any of them that I found, including this one. Just never got around to playing it. But this limited edition comes with a art book, as per usual, a soundtrack. And the weird thing about this is it comes with a gold coin, or a faux gold coin, Signature Edition. I guess that's the name of the company, Signature Edition. I could have sworn this was Special Reserve. Whatever. Not important. So, still need to get around to playing this. Like I said, I'll probably play through it. Why am I putting the game in there? I don't know. I'm stupid. I need to play through some of these horror games this Halloween. Next up is the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Has the original 3 games that came out for the PlayStation 1 on one disc. No problem, John. Thanks for coming. I'm glad that you are here. Captain Algebra whines about this game. Why did they take the controls from the 3rd game and put it in the first 2? I was like, I don't know. But I never played any of these games on the PlayStation 1, so that nitpick is completely lost on me. But I played this for a little while because I never played any of these games back in the day. I never owned them on the PlayStation 1, so it was like a new experience for me. And I enjoyed the little bit of the first game that I played, but I never really put a whole lot of time into it. I probably should. It's a fun little 3D like platformer collectathon. VR game, that's a no-no. Here's another one that has a special box. Cursed Castilla, limited edition, Cursed Castle. This I got off of PlayAsia as well. I remember Radical Reggie talking about this, but he kept on calling it Castilla, and I'm like, dude, it's Spanish. What are you doing? You pronounce it right. But it's a port of an old arcade game or whatever. It's a remaster of an old arcade game that is kind of like playing Ghosts and Goblins. So I was dying to get my hands on it. It sounded really, really cool, and I played it for a little while, and it's actually quite enjoyable. So, Cursed Castilla. Highly recommend that one if you can. It's a really fun, arcadey run and gun. These are a twin sanity thing. These 2 I got from Limited Run also, and they are two games in the same franchise. We have Damascus Gear, Operation Osaka HD Edition, and Damascus Gear, Operation Tokyo HD Edition. I think Tokyo is the first game and Osaka is the second, but these are giant mech games. I think. Yes, they are giant mech games. Have not opened them up yet because I did not know when I was going to get around to playing these. Yes, Tokyo is first and Osaka is second. They looked pretty cool, so that's why I picked them up. Next up, we have another game from Limited Run. Jesus, all these Limited Run games, and I haven't played them. Darius Burst CS Chronicle Saviors. I love the Darius series, so I was definitely going to pick this one up. It's a horizontally scrolling shmup. Absolutely love the series, so I was going to pick this one up. I also ended up, when this came out, they also released the soundtrack for the first game on vinyl to go along with it as an add-on, and I did buy that. It's in the other room. And yeah, I can't wait to actually have some time to crack that one open and give it a shot. This one I played last year. I got a bunch of mediocre reviews, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just kind of meh." Other people said it was really good. Other people said it was absolute trash. But I got it discounted for about half off, which is why I bought it. I usually don't buy games like this like close to the release. I usually wait a year because of DLC stuff. I want to get like a complete edition, but it doesn't sound like there is any DLC for this. And that's Days Gone. It's an open world game. Where they're not zombies. I think they're just called infected or something like that. I can't really remember. But these zombies in this game come at you in gigantic hordes, and you just have to find ways to mow them down. And it is really fun. The story, the characters are kind of moody, but I think you would be too at the end of the world. And this camera is ticking me off. And it's basically all about motorcycle gangs and motorcycle riding in like this post-apocalyptic world. And you're trying to find your wife, who you sent her off with some military personnel at the beginning of the game, and that you found out that helicopter crashed, so your wife is assumed dead, but the main character doesn't want to believe it. And the whole idea behind the game is trying to find if she is alive or dead. And you're in this world where these zombies are attacking and killing everything. And it's really fun. I really enjoyed it. The end game was great. And I really can't wait for a sequel. There is a post-game section where you're told to go to this specific area. Like, there's some gameplay after the game is over, and you go to this one specific area, and you get like a zinger for a sequel. And it's kind of like watching like a really cool Marvel movie where you're like, oh no, now what happens? And I was like, they better be a sequel to this. I hear Bend is starting to work on a new game, so this had better be a sequel to Days Gone that I'm hearing about, because they leave you on a really awesome cliffhanger. I really enjoyed that game. I still haven't played this, but I bought this because it was not going to get released in the US because of sexual content. But when I know the game series this is a part of, and it's not meant to be serious at all. And that's Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Fortune. If you ever played Dead or Alive Volleyball on the original Xbox, there really isn't a whole lot of game there. It's just some volleyball games and a couple of mini games, and exchange some costumes and bikinis with other girls on the island. And the coolest thing about the game is on the Xbox you can rip songs from CDs, music CDs, onto your hard drive of your Xbox and then play them in game, which was kind of cool. So you're listening to Static X while you're playing volleyball. At least I was. And there was another game that came out in the series for the Xbox 360, which I do own. And then this came out, and there's also a Vita version that has a different subtitle. But it's just a bunch of harmless, fetishy, like, not really over... I mean, it's sexualized, but not super sexualized. It's just a bunch of girls in bikinis running around acting vapid and stuff like that, and there's a couple of really fun mini games. But yeah, there is a girl's booty in your face playing volleyball on the back. So what do you want? I got this from PlayAsia. It was the first game I ever bought from PlayAsia, and I still haven't opened it because I'm like, I have it. I'm glad I have it in my collection. Do I really need to play it? Probably not. Deadpool, one of the first games I do remember. I do think I got for the PS4, and I played it for a little while, and it is a 3D adventure game, but there's like run and gun aspects to it too. And Deadpool's talking to himself the whole time. I think the best thing about it is the guy who does the voice for Deadpool in this is Nolan North, the guy who plays Nathan Drake in the Uncharted games. And I absolutely think he's a fantastic video game voice actor. I wish he would do some actual like acting. I think the only movie I've ever seen him in is Star Trek Into Darkness, and that was it. But it's a fun game. It just didn't compel me to keep on playing it. I played it for a couple of days, and I was just like, yeah, it's all right. If you ever played The Punisher on the original Xbox or the PlayStation 2, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But this was a last-gen game re-released for the modern consoles, so it does feel a little like it belongs on an older console. Here's another one I got from Limited Run, and it's Dear Esther, the Landmark Edition. This is a walking simulator, if I'm not mistaken, and I wanted to play a bunch of these games in a row, starting with Agony, and Agony kind of killed that need for this genre. So I still need to get into it and play it. I hear it's actually really, really good. Deathmark, I got this at GameStop really, really cheap, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet either, but it's a murder mystery game from what I understand. You have been marked. A strange rumor is spreading through the shadows of Tokyo's H City. Mysterious disfigurement like grotesque birthmarks have been appearing on the bodies of certain individuals. Anyone who receives the mark will rapidly die of unknown horrifying causes. Sounds like The Ring! Yeah, it sounds like a J-horror movie, but I'm cool with it. I mean, it sounded kind of cool. I'm always down for a horror game, so there's that. Yeah, franchise I wish would never end. Deception 4, The Nightmare Princess. I absolutely love the Deception games on the original PlayStation. Especially Kagero Deception 2. That one is one of my favorite games on that console. So, it had lied dormant until like a pseudo sequel came out for the PS2 called Trapped, which I'd never heard of before until Scott Squatch from Video Game Sellers talked about it randomly in one of his videos, and I was like, what is this? What? Deception, what? Spinoff, huh? And then they came out for it. Well, the original version of this came out for the PlayStation 3, but it lied dormant for like almost 3 generations of consoles. And I was like, damn, I need that. I need that in my life. So I bought the PlayStation 3 one, and then right after I finally got around to buying it, they announced that it was coming out for the PlayStation 4 with all the DLC included in it, and that's this Nightmare Princess version. So I ended up getting rid of that and picked this one up instead, where you basically are playing as the bad guy. And in the original games, it's like you're in a castle, and people are coming to the castle to kill you because you're evil. And you're a magician, and the second game, especially in Kagero, you're like a magician, but you lay traps in the castle, and you have to kill all the people that are trying to invade your property with these traps. And the more people you kill, the more points you accumulate. The more points you accumulate, the bigger and better traps you can buy and use. And it is super fun and really unique. So definitely wanted to have a modern-day version of that in the collection. Absolutely. Here's one that has a special box. We are talking Defenders of Ekron, and this one is... Is this the twin stick? Yeah, I remember I got confused in my original pickup video of which one of these was which. I bought 2 games like this at the same time, and this one I think is the twin stick shooter. And it comes with, just like all the other games, a soundtrack, which I have actually opened and listened to, and it is actually really good music. And another one of those certificates. Out of 1,500 copies, I got 441. So there's that. And it also came with this other thing, which I thought was kind of curious. This really oversized like postcard thing that has like all the different characters from the game displayed on it. It doesn't actually fit in the box because it's too big, so I just have it laying on the side. So there's that. And I still haven't played the game. It's still sealed. You should expect that at this point. That's a VR game. This is not. This one, I don't know if I'm going to keep. This is another limited run game. It was one of the ones I was buying just because I was buying all the limited run games because I wanted them all. Desert Child. Doesn't really say anything about the game. I just remember I bought it, and the only thing it says is a game by Oscar Britton featuring music by him and his girlfriend and girlfriend material, whatever. Stuff you can do in this game. Ready for this? This is. It's all just described in the back like it's on a chalkboard. Things you can do in this game. Eat raw fish. Work for the dole. Quit smoking. Throw up. Consume FDA-approved beans. Roo hunting. I guess this game takes place in Australia. Get ripped off. Be poor. Be rich. Be Australian. Be American. And hoverbike racing. If I remember correctly now, I think this is a racing game. I think this is a hoverbike racing game. That's what it was. Yep, that's what's on the cover too. Everyone's sitting on hoverbikes. There you go. It's a racing game. Yeah, I figured it out. I'm a smart man. Yay. Played through this one last year. This was one of my favorite games that I played last year, and that's Detroit Become Human. It's by Quantic Dream, David Cage, and it's a choose your own adventure. You play, there's 3 different sets of characters. You play as, oh God, what is his name? I keep on wanting to say Austin, but that's not it. Jesus. I cannot remember any of these people's names. God, I love the game so much I can't remember anything about it. No. There's 3 different characters. One of them is a cop. All these 3 characters are artificial people. And it's kind of like at a point in time where people are starting to really hate these artificial people, which are made to help us do the mundane tasks no one wants to do, but they're actually just stealing jobs from able-bodied people. And there's like a lot of resentment going on. And there's kind of like a recall thing going on. A lot of them are starting to break their programming, kind of like in Blade Runner. You play as one of them who is a cop. One of them who is a babysitter and a maid, and the other one was a assistant to a crippled painter. He's like his legs basically. And it's like it's like the path to becoming human for each of these types of characters, like the crap that they go through to break their programming and start to act like real people. And it's really interesting, and like the characters are just so well done and acted, and the motion control and everything. I loved everything about it. And it's like a choose your own adventure. You're always given these different paths you can take with each character, and each one leads to like a bunch of different scenarios. And you could probably play through this game 20 times and you get a different ending or a different path that you can take. So the first playthrough that I did, I was doing everything like absolutely perfectly. Like I knew I was going to get the best ending because I was being, sympathetic to certain characters, and I was saying the right responses when people were like being racist towards my character, and I'd not try to come back at them with some nasty jibe or whatever. I would just stay calm and all that, and everything was going well. I had relationships with all the different characters were high up there. Everyone respected every one of my characters. And then in the last 15 minutes, I jacked up everything. I got every single one of these characters killed. And I was like, God damn it. Look, I messed it up for myself and everybody. And I was whining about it because I technically beat the game at that point. Even though everybody died, the game did end. I was whining about it on Instagram when I posted like I just beat this game, even though I got the worst ending there probably is. And Church for the Game Grinder was like, you can go back and start back at certain points in the game and the little tree that shows you where all the choices are, and you can fix your problems or the things that you screwed up. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did exactly that, and I got what I feel is a pretty damn good ending. So I've seen like both types, which is pretty awesome. It's a great game. I highly recommend it. It's great graphics, music, everything about it. Emotional content. It's like, it grabs you. It's really good. It's so well done. I got this on a sale at the Square Enix website. Dude, this is the console I have the most games for, dude. There's going to be 3 streams based on, or just all about this console. I have so many goddamn games. I still have 2.5 stacks to go through. So I'm going to have to start talking fast. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, the Day 1 edition. I got this off of the Square Enix website. They had a sale. I want to play this franchise so much, but I keep on saying like I will, and I don't. Even though I have all the previous games in the franchise, I still haven't gotten around to playing them. But yeah, this was the newest one, and yeah, I haven't played it yet because I'm stupid. Just talked about this last night. The Devil May Cry HD collection. I've been trying to get into this franchise, and I figured this is the best way to do it since I don't have any of the other games for any of the other consoles. So pick this one up. Along with, I got Devil May Cry 5. Picked this one up because Musty Hobbit had been streaming it on Twitch, and it looked absolutely batshit crazy. So I absolutely had to do it in one. No. I will be online until probably 2 in the morning, and I will have no voice tomorrow. It looked absolutely crazy, and I was like, okay, this was the... Watching him stream this was the reason why I was like, I need to get into these Devil May Cry games. So, it's absolutely nuts. I got this dirt cheap on a sale on, I think, Best Buy. Had like a sale on it, so I picked it up. Haven't played it yet because I want to play through all the games. Now that I have the HD collection, I actually can. This was one of my favorite games of the last decade. I talked about this on the Game Tenants podcast with Church and Jason of Corpse Flood. Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls. It's a dungeon crawler. I had never previous to this played any of the other games in the franchise. I got this at Black Friday, the year that I bought my PlayStation 4, and I got it Black Friday, and then I went on my Christmas vacation, which I normally do. I usually take 2 weeks off around the holidays in December. And I was playing this all day, all night, to the point where my controller, which when I started playing the game that morning or that day was completely charged, would go dead in my hand. And I'd have to stop because I couldn't keep playing because I only had one controller at that point. It's absolutely fantastic. I played as a monk. I got that guy so high-powered that even the final boss was a cakewalk for me because I was so great. Or my character was so great. So, absolutely fantastic game. I highly recommend it. Now there's a version out there that's like got even more content in it, which kind of ticks me off. What's up, Peter? How's it going? Man, I worked on the art for that game. Oh, shit. Still haven't played this, even though I convinced Radical Reggie and Jason of Corpsefly Gaming to buy it. The game's called Distrust. It's like The Thing, the John Carpenter version of The Thing. There's a bunch of people trapped in like this Arctic research station, and there is possibly an alien invader among them. And you have like a stress meter, and it's like all about trying to get out of there alive and trying to suss out who could be an alien and who isn't. It's like a top-down isometric style game. And yeah, there's like this stress meter thing in it that I thought was really cool and interesting when I watched the video about it. And you can play it in 3D if you really want to. I wonder if I can play this on my PlayStation VR in 3D. I should try that out tonight. So I got this overseas. I got this on Amazon actually, but you had to get it from Badland Publishing. They actually had released, I think, a certain amount of copies to Amazon for them to sell, and that's how I got it. So there's that. And because of all the Devil May Cry stuff, I also picked up DMC Devil May Cry, the reboot of the franchise, which almost killed the franchise. It made them go back to numbered sequels because everyone seemed to hate this game. Mostly because they made Dante's hair black in the original version and not white, which is stupid. it's hair. But they ended up patching the game so his hair went white again, which is dumb. But action-adventure, beat-em-up type game. VR game, not going to talk about that. Donut County, I streamed this last year also. And it's like playing Katamari Damacy. It's a really charming indie game. And the thing about it is you're not playing as like a ball that's rolling things up as it gets bigger. You play as a hole in the ground. And the more things you drop into the hole, the bigger the hole gets. And eventually you're swallowing up like almost half of a city. And it has a really interesting story. It's really short. I want to say it's maybe like a 3-4 hour game. And I beat it in one single stream. And it is actually really fun. I want to say maybe I beat it in 2.5. And it is really, really fun and charming. I absolutely loved it. I have no idea, dude. No idea if anyone's streaming Streets of Rage 4. Jason might. I know he said he was going to download it today. But I'm not downloading that shit. I ordered it through Limited Run. And that one is going to get played when it shows up. Speaking of Limited Run, Double Dragon 4. I remember when this was first released, everyone's like, wasn't Double Dragon 4 already a game for the Super Nintendo? Super Double Dragon? Doesn't that counted as Double Dragon 4? Because we ended up getting a Double Dragon 5. But this is the official Double Dragon 4 from what I understand. And it's done just like the original NES games. And I have fun, but I understand why people were starting to shit all over it was because when you get later on in the game, man, these enemies just gang up on you and like will not even let you stand up. I mean, you're just getting your ass handed to you. And I was having fun playing like the first like 4 or 5 levels or whatever it was, and then like I just couldn't get anywhere. So I kind of understand where the frustration comes from. But I like it. It's fun. I just wish that it was developed a little bit better. Why I did a little hand thing, I don't know. Here's another limited run game, Double Switch, the 25th anniversary edition. This is another full motion video game that was originally available on the Sega CD, which I actually do own for the Sega CD, right down there, right behind me. You can see them down there, right there, yeah. This one has Corey Haim in it, Debbie Harry, and R. Lee Ermey. And I remember playing this back in the day, and I liked it, but it was not my favorite full motion video game. It's basically like an upgraded version of Night Trap, where you have a bunch of cameras in this loft in this really expensive high-rise, and people are trying to break in to steal this like Egyptian statue, and you have to control these traps in the apartment in order to capture the people who are trying to break in, which is exactly what was going on in Night Trap. But this one's just a little bit more polished, a little more thought out, a little more story-oriented. But yeah, the video has all been remastered, and it looks fantastic from what I saw online, so I'll eventually get around to playing it, but I've played it before on the Sega CD, so it's not like I'm missing out completely. No, I'm not buying that big-ass monstrosity. I don't have room for that crap in my apartment, dude. You know this. I already pre-ordered the game, the version that comes in that Genesis clamshell. I'm okay with that. I don't need any of these super expensive bragging right things. I don't have any use for statuettes. It's a PSVR game. Talked about this in March, so I don't need to talk about it a whole lot, but Dragon Crown Pro, the Battle Hardened Edition. This is a RPG beat-em-up by Vanillaware with a really unique art style. Like, women have breasts. In this game, women have gigantic watermelons on their chest. Women have gigantic ass cheeks. Dudes have chests. Women even have, like, bodybuilder chests that, like, keep on going. Like, their lats are, like, touching their elbows. It's so crazy. It is super fun. I absolutely loved it. I played it on the PlayStation 3. Glad that I could get a newer version, updated version on the PS4. So all about that. Ooh, good luck with that, dude. I will not be joining you. Dragon Quest Heroes, the Day One Edition, the World Trees Woe and the Blight Below. Stupidest freaking subtitle ever. But this one is the beat 'em up that is kind of like playing a Dynasty Warriors game. Just never. I picked this up at Target like pretty soon after it came out, but they had already discounted it at least once, and I was like, oh cool, I'll get it while I can. At this price, and just never got around to playing it like most games in my collection. But gigantic war beat 'em up type game in the Dragon Quest universe. So why not? Just got this one in March. Also, Dreams. This is a video game making video game. You make video games in this game. There's that something of Tsushima or whatever that's coming out for the PS4. Swords of Tsushima or something like that, and a guy using Dreams recreated the entire cinematic that they showed online to announce the game in this game. And I haven't opened it yet because this is one of those games that if I ever start playing it, I probably will never stop because I'm kind of a creative person. I'm a filmmaker and all that kind of stuff. So the stuff I could probably make with this game will keep me occupied for a long time, and I would like to play some other games out there. And I'm sure this will take over my life. But yeah, you can make any type of genre you want, from what I understand. Shmups, adventure games, platformers, racing games, what have you. You can do it in this game. And I got this... came out as a budget game also, didn't it? Yeah. I actually got it for cheaper than the going rate because the guy at the store, at the Target where I bought it at, effed up. I got these both at GameStop, totally different GameStops years apart. We're talking Dungeons 2 and Dungeons 3. These are dungeon crawlers, which I absolutely love. I played a little bit of Dungeons 2, and I liked what I played enough to say when I saw a copy of Part 3 out there that I wanted to get it. This is the Extremely Evil Edition. Each of them have a bunch of DLC, so I'm assuming these are originally digital games that got physical editions after the fact. So that's kind of cool. Earth Defense Force 4.1, The Shadow of New Despair. EDF! I absolutely love this franchise. The Vita game that came out around the same time as this was like one of my favorite games the year that it came out because I never got this one when it first came out. I got this way after the fact at a GameStop in Indianapolis while I was at Gen Con. But basically, picture Starship Troopers, the video game. You are a soldier. You outfit your character. You pick a type of soldier. There's ones that can fly. There's ones that are like tanks. And you outfit them with all these weapons that you can upgrade as you go, and you fight gigantic bugs. What's not to like? Mark from Classic Game Room would always brag about those games, and he turned me on to them for good, and I'm glad that I listened to him. Oh god, I got so many more games to go through, and I got like a half an hour to do it. Earthlock Festival of Magic. It's a RPG that's, I hear, really short, which is why I bought it. I got it off of Amazon for like $10. Which is why I wanted it. And I hear Radical Reggie say it's actually really, really fun, which is why I bought it, just haven't gotten around to playing it because RPGs! Another limited run game. I actually streamed this for one night on Twitch. That's Everspace, the Galactic Edition. It's a roguelike Wing Commander game. You are flying around in the spaceship. You can I think you can be in the cockpit. Also, yeah, you can. I always fly or play these games from outside the ship, except Wing Commander. Wing Commander, you don't really have a choice. And every time you die, the whole world just changes and you're starting over from scratch. So the whole idea is to survive as long as you possibly can, fighting enemies, doing like escort missions and stuff like that, all these different types of missions you can do. Survive as long as you possibly can, and then you get to upgrade things, and those carry over into the next playthrough, but you have to start over. All that stuff that you have done is undone, and you have to do them all over again, and usually in a different order. So it's really fun. I liked it a lot, and it actually came with a huge double disc soundtrack when I bought it too, which is kind of cool. VR game, no. VR game, no. The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2, horror games that are Resident Evil-esque. I played a little bit of The Evil Within, and I liked what I did. It reminded me of like Resident Evil via Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I really liked. But I just got distracted by another game, and I never went back to it. I probably should. And then I bought part 2 because once I beat the first one, of course I don't want to play the sequel, and I got the sequel Black Friday on a discount. So there's that. Exist Archive. I bought this because I do believe it was either Church or was it Joel from Media Glitch that was talking about this game, making it sound like it was awesome. It also has like a Vita version of it, and it's an RPG, and it sounded really, really cool, and just never got around to playing it. Just like every other RPG I buy. I don't know why I keep buying them. I don't. Limited run games. This is another one of those games I just purchased because, you know, I was trying to get all the limited run games out there. So I bought Factotum 90, knowing absolutely nothing about it. I was just like, I want all the limited run stuff. And then they started releasing like 15 games every week, and I don't have money for that. And all I know about it is what it says on the front here. And it says, a game about robots, explosions, lasers, and sadness. Aww. Here's another limited run RPG. I actually have the sequel to this on the Vita, I think. It's Fallen Legion, Sins of an Empire. It's an RPG, turn-based. And it looked really cool, and I like the fact that I had one game on the PS4 and then the follow-up on the Vita, which was kind of neat. Kind of makes you want to play both games in the franchise on totally different consoles. That's awesome. Still haven't played this because I want to play the other games in the franchise, but Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. I wanted to get this when it first came out because I'd played a little bit of Fallout 3 and I liked it a lot, but everyone told me that the fourth one was absolute craziness, so I wanted to wait for the complete edition to come out, which it did. I got this at Black Friday, whatever, last year, whatever it was. It has like 6 DLCs mixed into the game itself, which is great. But open world, post-apocalyptic game, I'm all about that. That's a VR game, not getting talked about. Just got this back in March also, Fire Pro Wrestling World. This isn't like your WWF wrestling game. This one is more of a strategy, like simulation, than like an arcadey one. And that's why I like them, because I'm not a big fan of the WWE games, especially the modern ones. I like the ones that came out like for the N64 in that era, and some of the ones from back in like the NES, Super Nintendo days. But that's about it. But this is a very popular franchise in Japan. Like the last game of the franchise came out for the PS2. That was Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. And then this came out on Steam for a little while, I guess to test the waters, to see if there was interest, and I guess it blew up. So naturally it got a port, which is awesome. But yeah, it's like a isometric wrestling game that's all about timing, and like I said, it's a simulation, but it has a create your own wrestler mode, which is absolute insanity. Like the amount of stuff and customization you can do to your characters is nuts. And that's what these games are absolutely known for. I actually have one of the games, the original game for the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom. It's fantastic. That's a VR game. I got this from Limited Run. Haven't opened it yet either. Firewatch. It's a walking simulator. Another one of those walking simulators. But, yeah. Peace, Solitude, The Great Outdoors. I'll get to it eventually. These walking simulator games aren't usually that long. Okay, so I was planning on playing this after I beat Days Gone, and it just never happened. And then I said once I beat Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, I was going to play it. And other games came out and distracted me again. But I need to get around to doing so because I absolutely love the franchise this is based on. So it's going to happen. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Picture Yakuza in the Fist of the North Star universe. And that's what this game is, according to Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming. Fist of the North Star is a Japanese anime. Manga, actually, at first. And then it became an anime movie. And then became an anime series. It's post-apocalyptic. It's like in the future after a nuclear war. And there's martial artists all over the place that have powers, like they can poke you in the ribs, and it'll hit a nerve cluster that'll make your head explode, and it's absolutely nuts. I absolutely love the manga and the cartoon and the movie. The cartoon movie, the animated one, not the live-action movie, that's a piece of shit. But can you imagine like an open-world Yakuza game in this universe? It just baffles the mind. And I keep on beating myself up for not wanting to, or not getting to play this sooner. I need to find time to do so. But right now I'm playing Resident Evil 3. And I still have to play Kingdom Hearts for the podcast, so another limited run game. This is the other one that got lost along with Kiladrius Blaze. Luckily, the limited run actually had another copy available for me to get. The Flame and the Flood. This is another one where I was just buying all the limited run games. I couldn't even tell you what the hell it's about. Complete edition. It's a wilderness survival game in which a girl and her dog travel on foot and by raft down a procedurally generated river. Scrounge for resources, craft tools, remedy afflictions, evade the vicious wildlife, and most importantly, stay healthy in a dangerous wilderness. Aww. I might not keep it. I might not keep it. I got this because of Captain Algebra. You still here, dude? If you are, this is your fault. Fox and Forests. Not Fox and Friends. Fox and Forests. Yeah, this is a Metroidvania, if I remember correctly, according to him. He talked about it in one of his pickup videos, and I was like, that looks kind of cool. I think I need to have it. And I managed to get this off of, what was it, Strictly Limited's website before it sold out. Like, I just managed to get, like, one of the last copies before it sold out, because it had been available for a little while. And, yeah, I can't wait to get around to trying this. Looks fantastic. Here's another one that I almost got lost in the mail because of the post office from Limited Run. And this is Freedom Planet. And it's like an old school platformer. It looks a lot like Rocket Knight Adventures, which is why I wanted it. So, yes. Okay, this one has a special box, and a big one at that. You ready for this? Friday the 13th, the game. So, if you've ever watched any video on my channel, I usually say how much I hate online gaming. I talked about it when I was talking about the Call of Duty games. I absolutely hate online gaming. Not only because you got to rely on other people who could possibly be unreliable and ruin your gaming experience, but people online are assholes and talk a lot of shit and say racist stuff, and I don't need to deal with that crap. And usually I don't play a game online long enough to get to the point where I'm actually able to compete with everyone else that's playing, which sucks. But this game, Friday the 13th, is online only. I mean, oh no, actually I take that back. Originally it was online only. Eventually they introduced like an online one-player, or an offline one-player mode, which I have played a little bit. But the whole idea behind the game is each time you play, you're put into a group of, I think, 10 people, 8 or 10 people. And one of those people is chosen to play as Jason Voorhees. Everyone else is a camp counselor. The camp counselors have to find items to help them escape before Jason can kill them. And Jason's objective is, obviously, to kill them in various gruesome ways. There are different versions of Jason from all the different movies. Each one has unique fatalities, like the one you can kill people. Each environment, there's a bunch of different environments and levels that you can play in. Each has different environmental deaths, which is really cool. Captain Algebra knows about that, how we used to, like, kill each other. If one of us was playing as Jason, we'd find something environmental that we haven't seen yet and try to do it. Some of them are cool, some of them are like, huh? But we would have, like, these nights where a bunch of, like, different YouTubers, me, I remember, what was it, Do You Nerd played with us, T-Belly, J-Love, I think Gaming Off the Grid, Linda, a.k.a. the Gamer Girl, Phil Twerpin, leave my friend alone! One of the greatest moments I've ever had online gaming is Phil Twerpin screaming that as I killed Captain Algebra. Leave my friend alone! That was so good. Oh, good times. Yeah, a whole bunch of us would, like, make weekends. We'd play this over the weekend. Like Shondo. Radical Reggie played this with us a couple times. We have another thing with Shondo, where Shondo made everybody play as Shelly one night, so now every time I see Shondo, I do the, oh, Shelly thing that we were doing back then. Oh, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot more fun than I thought it was ever going to be. I'm glad I picked it up. And I waited for this, what is it called? The Ultimate Slasher Collector's Edition, because not only does it come with a really cool replica of Jason's mask, but it had a lot of DLC in it that you had to pay for originally. I hope that the lawsuit bullshit gets worked out with the Friday the 13th license so they can start adding more content to it. But the makers of that game just came out with another similar game based on another movie franchise, which I'll probably talk about in the third video, the third stream. But I talked about it last night in my pickup video. That's a VR game. I played this one a little bit. It's like Boss Rush, the game. It's called Fury. This is the definitive edition. I guess it has a lot of extra characters that you can fight in it. It's just a bunch of boss fights, and it's actually pretty cool. It has a really cool soundtrack and a lot of really cool... The graphics I really enjoyed. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but it's another game I bought from Limited Run that I just bought sight unseen, and that is Future Unfolding. It sounds like it's a point-and-click adventure or something. Could be a walking simulator. I don't know. The cover tells you nothing, and neither does the back. But I did get the soundtrack to this at the same time on vinyl. So there's that. Here's another one from Limited Run. See, half of my games are from Limited Run. That's why my collection is so big. I was trying to get all of them, damn it. This is Foon, F-U-'U-N, Super Combo. It's 2 games in this Foon franchise that are available for the PS4 on one disc. I actually have 2 games in this franchise for the Famicom Disk System also. But the Foon games are beat 'em ups, and these look more like one-on-one fighting games instead of beat 'em ups. So maybe the franchise switched over at one point from beat 'em ups on the original Famicom Disk System to one-on-one fighting games. And it looks really cool. Haven't had a chance to try it out yet, but I love my fighting games, so I'll definitely give this a shot. Got this also from Limited Run. This is a remaster of a Sega Saturn game that was exclusive to Japan. We never got it over here. And I remember Metal Jesus had, I can't remember her name, but she was from that channel Circuits and Coffee. And she was on talking about like hidden gems for the Saturn, and this was one of the games she talked about. I wanted to go and buy a copy of it for the Saturn, but it was super expensive. So this is the cheap alternative. It's called The Game Paradise. What is it? Cruisin' Mix Special. So I guess it's got some extra stuff in it. But whatever. It's a vertically scrolling shmup, but everything about it is like video game based. You play as, what is it, a disc or something? I know you're going through like an arcade. That's all I really remember about it. But it's a vertically scrolling shmup, and it looked super fun and cool, and, you know, panders to the gamers. So there's that. Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions Evolved. It's a twin-stick shooter. I picked this up at a GameStop for like $5. That's why I bought it. But I like a twin-stick shooter now and then, so I definitely wanted to add that to the collection. This one has a special box. It's the last game I have here with a special box. Thank you. Ghost Blade HD. I got this because of Radical Reggie. He was talking it up something fierce. And it was a game that was coming out for the Dreamcast. It was like a new game for the Dreamcast, like from in 2015 or whatever. And I also have it for the Dreamcast, but it got remastered in HD for the PS4 through Play Asia, so I picked it up. And this game is absolutely fantastic. It's a vertically scrolling shmup. And I swear to God, the first time I played it, I must have like triggered 6 trophies at the exact same time. Like I beat the first level and I got like 6 trophies in a row. I was like, what did I just do? Did I do something special? I don't know. Couldn't even tell you what the hell they were because they're flying by so fast. But it's an awesome, beautiful vertically scrolling shmup. God, I keep on screwing up what I'm going to say. Absolutely love it. And the soundtrack to this game is absolutely fantastic. It comes with a soundtrack, obviously. And it's been opened because I was listening to this one a lot because I love the music. And it also comes with another one of those certificate numbers. Out of 3,000 copies, I'm 1,407. Happy day. I highly recommend it. You either get it for the PS4, get it for the Dreamcast if you can. It looks awesome on the Dreamcast. It's like beyond what I thought the Dreamcast could do, but it was a modern day game made for the Dreamcast, so there's that. Highly recommend it if you love a shmup. That's a PR game. No, no, no. The Girl and the Robot Deluxe Edition. I got this for like $5 on Amazon, which is why I bought it. Trying to get as many games as you can. But it's like a puzzle platformer, I do believe. Where you play as a girl and she's got a robot that can help her out with tasks kind of like, what is it? Lost Vikings a little bit from what I understand. Haven't played it. It's still sealed. Got that years ago and I still haven't played it. Okay, people, we're in the home stretch for tonight. I'm in the last stack. God of War. This is God of War 4? 5? Does Ascension count as a numbered game? I don't know. But yeah, this is like a reimagining of God of War. It is a sequel, but it's like a reimagining. Instead of having to do with, the Greek mythology, this is all about Norse mythology now. And it's all for the better, because this is one of the best games I think I've ever played. I beat this last year. No, was it last year? The year before. I started playing it in 2018. I finally beat it like at the beginning of 2019. But I considered it one of the best games of 2018 because I started playing it in 2018. That's the way it worked. And it's absolutely fantastic. Kratos has a son now who's kind of whiny, and it's like a coming-of-age story for your son, and then he finds out who the hell he really is within Norse mythology, and it's pretty awesome when it happens. Great combat, music. It's all done as one continuous, unbroken shot, and like the camera never cuts away. It just swoops around things to show you what's going on, and then comes back to the gameplay, and it is fantastic. Absolutely one of the best games I think I've ever played. It is great. Yes, it is to the Tony the Tiger reference. Still haven't played this because I don't know if I really want to play it and sully my opinion on this character, but the Godzilla game for the PS4. I remember I really, really wanted it for the longest time, and then I started reading people's reviews and hearing people talk about it, and they're like, yeah, it's not that great. It's actually kind of boring and pointless, so I still haven't opened it, but I got it brand new, but dirt cheap. I think I paid $10 for it. And then, like, my friend Felix the Brett saw this in my picture that I release every week of games that I've added to my collection. He's just like, you're going to regret buying that Godzilla game. I was like, well, let's still haven't played it, so I can't comment if it is poop or not. It's a VR game. This is not. Grand Theft Auto 5. Still haven't beaten this. I played it for... I want to say I'm maybe 2/3 of the way through the game, and then I just stopped playing it. And it requires such a hefty install that it was taking up so much space on my hard drive that I was like, no, I need to get rid of this because I need to play other games. So I still need to go back and finish it off. I still have my save game on my PS4. I need to go back and do it, but it's pretty fun. This is probably the most involving of the Grand Theft Auto games for me. I couldn't really get into a lot of the other ones, especially Part 4 for some reason. I didn't like the main character at all, so I didn't want to keep playing it. But this one, you're playing as 3 different characters, and each of them have their own cool things going on, personalities, environments that they interact with on a regular basis. And then there's, I cannot remember what his name is. The redneck guy wakes up in the middle of nowhere with a tutu on or something. It just cracked me up. This is another limited run game. I don't know why I bought it. I don't even remember what kind of game it is. Gravity Ghost. I just bought it because why not? This is the deluxe edition. It just says, surf the night sky, careen through the cosmos, find the fox. Gravity Ghost is a planetary platformer where orbiting is an art form. It's a puzzle platformer. Might or might not keep it. I don't know. I still haven't opened it, so I can still sell it if I want to. Gravity Rush Remastered. This is, a PS Vita game that got remastered for the PS4 because it was considered one of the best games on the Vita. And I agree. I have it for the Vita. It is pretty fantastic. It's like an action platformer, but you can change gravity whenever you want. So you could be walking normally, then you'll hit one of the buttons and you can like start to float, and you can attach yourself to a wall as if the gravity is coming from that wall. So you can be walking vertically, upside down. It doesn't matter. It's really fantastic. And then there's the sequel, which I bought because I heard it was starting to gain or rise up in price because there was not that many copies left out in the world, I guess. And it turned out that was a complete sack of shit. No, that wasn't true. I got it at a Best Buy for like $20, and everyone was just kind of like, yeah, where did that rumor come from? I don't know. And I was like, well, you know what? I fell for it. But I'm not sad that I bought it because it is a great game. This one is awesome. I streamed this on Twitch. I almost beat the entire game in one sitting. I want to say I was playing it for like 5 or 6 hours. Grim Fandango Remastered, another company that's been trying to get into the whole digital on physical, is I Am 8-Bit. They were known for releasing video game soundtracks on vinyl. I used to buy a whole lot of vinyl records from them in that genre. And they released this remastered version of Grim Fandango, which is like a point-and-click adventure that came out for the PC back in the day. And it's not point-and-click anymore because, you know, you're playing with a controller instead of a keyboard and a mouse. And it's really cool. It takes place in the afterlife, and you play as an insurance salesman who ends up getting sucked into this weird adventure. And it's really fun, really clever, really charming. I really like the characters in it. It's really cool. And the achievements and some of the stuff you have to do to get in a trophy in it is just absolute silliness. One of them was you have to ask characters a specific question because you'll come into contact with characters and you get like a discussion tree. And you have to work the conversation in a specific way to get to this one rare question that's in that discussion tree. And if you do that, you get an achievement for it. And I did every single one of them except the first one because the first conversation I got into, I didn't realize that that's what I had to do and aim for. So I missed it. So I have to start over again and go to the beginning and try to get that achievement so I can possibly platinum it, maybe. I think there's one other thing I need to do. It's a specific amount of times I have to dodge an attack or parry an attack or something like that to get an achievement. Then I can platinum it. So there's like 2 things I need to do. Gris, it's another game I got from Limited Run. It's a Metroidvania, I think. Church, the game grinder, talked about this like the year that it came out. He bought it digitally. Said it was the best game he played that year, so I was naturally like intrigued. And I still haven't had a chance to play it. This came out not too long ago. I want to say within the last couple months. And I can't wait to actually have time to play it. But it looks absolutely stunning. Like, graphic-wise, everything. I can't wait. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. I might get rid of this. I still haven't opened it. It's a Metroidvania, from what I understand, I think. Gura says cool cover art. Oh, yeah. I think this is a Metroidvania, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a sequel to this also, and now there's a double pack with both games on it. But I got this off of one of those online, like, limited run type places. I couldn't tell you which one it is. It doesn't say on the back here. Drink Box? It doesn't sound familiar. But I bought that through one of them because I wanted to play it because I like that genre. And now that I hear that there's this extra edition out there, I might get rid of it. So I'm going to set it aside just in case. Guilty Gear Xrd Sign. What does that even mean? I don't know. But Guilty Gear is an awesome fighting game franchise, but I absolutely love Arxis. Sorry, yeah. Axis. Why do I keep on mispronouncing it? But Arc System Works, the developer who made the Double Dragon 4 that limited run released. And I love their games. Their art styles for all the characters in these Guilty Gear games are absolutely fantastic. They're nutty. They're absolutely crazy. It's like a more organized version of Marvel vs. Capcom because you know how crazy those games can get. I absolutely love the Guilty Gear series. There is a follow-up to this one that I need to find. Radical Reggie was telling me about that. That's a VR game. This is a limited run game that I didn't get from Limited Run Games. I got this from a local store that was selling a bunch of limited run titles that were sold to them. So they were reselling. Gunhouse. It just sounded kind of interesting. It's a run and gun from what I understand, so I picked that up. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli. I actually did play through this one. I got this from Strictly Limited. It's like playing Contra, where you're playing as like a 1920s gangster fighting zombies. And it is a lot of fun. There's a sequel to this I need to find a copy of. I also understand that there's a version that has the first and second game on it. I might try to get that instead. But it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. It's got a weird sense of humor also and a lot of fun boss battles. Another game I got from Limited Run. This one's actually open because I think the disc came loose in shipping. But Headlander, it's from Adult Swim Games. So I'm assuming this was this a phone game? But it looks like a Metroidvania. And it's probably got a funny sense of humor because Adult Swim. Still haven't played this, and I'm kicking myself because I haven't gotten around to it. I really want to because I love the company that developed this. Maybe this will be the next game I play after I beat Kingdom Hearts. And that's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It's by, oh god, what's their name? Ninja Theory. Andy Serkis, the Lord of the Rings guy, he works for them. Or he's one of the founders of it. I don't know. I always thought it was his company, but no, I think he's just one of the founders. But it's a cinematic adventure game, kind of like God of War. But the whole thing about it is the main character is possibly insane, possibly schizophrenic, and all these things that she's hearing and seeing could possibly not even be real. And that's kind of interesting. But there's a lot of really cool combat from what I understand, and it looks absolutely beautiful. So can't wait to get around to playing that one. That's a VR game. This is not. Another limited run. A whole new world. It's an old school NES style platformer. And the funny thing about the box is they try to make it look like it's like an old school Konami game with the art style on the front. And if you look at the back, the photos of the game itself look like they were taken off of a CRT TV, like the old NES game boxes were also, which is hysterical to me. But yeah, it looks really, really cool. I wanted to get this one. This was released at the same time as Bloodstained Circle of the Moon, which is another retro throwback type game like this. So I got the two of them in a double whammy. That's a VR game. This is not. This was my favorite game of last year. Maybe? I can't remember what year it was I played this. Maybe last year, I think. But when it came to games of the last 10 years, games of the decade, I talked about this. This is my favorite game that came... No, sorry. Second favorite game that came out in the last 10 years. And I talked about this on the Game Tenants podcast, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition. This is one of the best open world games I've ever played. The story is fantastic and involving. The characters are likable, and like you give a shit about them. And like Aloy is one of the best characters I think I've ever played in a video game. I absolutely love her. The story, like I said, is fantastic. It's like this post-apocalyptic world, and the reason why the world has been destroyed is really jacked up and kind of awesome. And the combat and all the crafting and everything you have to do in this game is just top-notch stuff. It looks, sounds, plays fantastically. It's one of the best games I've ever played. So if you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, get on it. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend that if you do get this complete edition, or just the standard edition and download the DLC also, to play the DLC, the Frozen Wilds, before you beat the game, because it will add on to the ending of the game if you do. I found that out firsthand. Wink. Trying to help you all out. I probably shouldn't have bought this because I think this is available on limited run right now for the Switch, and it's not a graphically intensive game, so it doesn't matter what console I play it on. It's not going to look much different, but we're talking Hotline Miami. This is the collected edition. I got it from Japan, which is why the title looks so jacked up. It's all in Japanese. This has the first and second Hotline Miami. Well, it has the first Hotline Miami on disc. It comes with a download code for Hotline Miami 2, which I could download if I wanted it. I just need a Japanese PSN account, which I'm not going to do. So I got one game instead of two, which is all right, but I understand that the Switch version has the two on disc, so whatever. It's a top-down, retro, throwback type game. Super bloody. You basically play as a hitman for hire, and you get sent to jobs to like kill a bunch of people, and it's kind of like a action puzzle game because like since it's top down, you can see where other people are, and you need to not alert other people. It's kind of got puzzle aspects to it. It's actually really fun. Awesome freaking music. It's like this 90s techno type stuff. It's really cool. This is another game released through IM 8-bit, digital to physical, Hyperlight Drifter. I heard everybody talking about how great this game was. It even got like if you bought like a limited edition version of it through IM 8-bit, it came in like in a Super Nintendo box, which I was like, no. But it's a platformer where your character is like on the verge of dying, and you have like this mechanic where you can like zip across open spaces. Like there's like a space between ledges that you need to get across, and you can zip across, and you can also attack that way. It's really, really fun, and I liked it a lot. I streamed it for, I think, 2 different days on Twitch, and I really enjoyed it, and then I got distracted by other games. But it also comes with a manual, full-color manual. It tells you all about the weapons and everything you can get, and it also comes with a poster. Oh, God. I was wondering why this was so heavy. And it's basically a map, which is awesome. But the game is awesome. It's really creative and beautiful to look at. Everything's like purple and pink and like just day glow. It's awesome. It's so good. Hyper Sentinel. I got this from Strictly Limited. It's a horizontally scrolling shmup, but it's all like NES graphics type stuff. And some of it actually looks like you would be playing it on a Atari 2600. Like down here, this reminds me of what's that called? Vanguard on the Atari 2600. So I wanted that most definitely. Still haven't played this, but I was watching Soreless stream this on Twitch for a little while, and I was like, that looks really cool. I keep forgetting that I need to play it. It's called Immortal Redneck. It's a first-person shooter RPG. And it looked fantastic. It's gory as hell, but I liked what I saw, so I had to pick it up. I got this from Strictly Limited. We're in the home stretch, only a couple more. Infamous Second Son Limited Edition. This is part 3 in the franchise. The first 2 came out for the PS3, and this was a launch game, I do believe, for the PS4. Haven't gotten around to playing it yet because I don't have Infamous 2, so I can't play it until I play all the other ones. And there's also like a DLC edition for this that you can get physically from Japan. Your brother is the second son, and it shows. Okay. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Here's another FMV game from Limited Run. I absolutely had to get this one. It's a new one. It's not a remaster of an old one. It's called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. It's a FMV Lovecraft game. Yes, please. Cthulhu. Shit. In full motion video. Live actors. I can't wait to play through this one. I might stream a bunch of these full motion video games on Twitch when I get back around to streaming on Twitch. And the last 2 games I'm going to talk about tonight are from a franchise which I absolutely love. Fighting games. We got Injustice, Gods Among Us, the Ultimate Edition, and Injustice 2, the Legendary Edition. Fighting games from NetherRealm Studios, the makers of the Mortal Kombat games, duh. Except instead of Liu Kang and Scorpion and Sonya, you have DC Comics characters. And I was really skeptical about Injustice because when NetherRealm, this is when they were still working for Midway, did that whole Mortal Kombat versus the DC Universe game. They got a lot of crap. Like everybody, you either loved it or you hated it. Most people seem to hate it because it wasn't true Mortal Kombat, because they had to take the gore out and stuff like that, and just to have the DC Universe stuff in there. So people were crying foul, and I didn't care. I love fighting games, so I was cool with it. It didn't bother me at all. I thought it was kind of a cool switch up. And then they came back hardcore with the reboot of Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 9. And it was fantastic. So I was kind of like, is this actually going to work on its own as a fighting game? And yeah, it worked fantastically. This is a great fighting game. And the Ultimate Edition is all the extra characters that were available through DLC, all included. Like, you have General Zod, who you can actually make look like Terrence Stamp. and there's a skin. Batgirl, Lobo, Zatanna. Or is it Zatanna? Yeah, Zatanna. And Martian Manhunter. And it's pretty freaking awesome. I liked it a lot. And then part 2 came along like 4 years later and absolutely trumped this one. It whoops this one's butt. It has branching paths in the story mode, which is really cool. I think you end up eventually getting to the same ending no matter what. It just gives you different characters to play as in different scenarios. And all that. Story mode is absolutely fantastic. It's really dark. Injustice's storyline is dark. This goes even darker. Like, Superman is an asshole. And this also has all the downloadable characters that were available in DLC on disc, like Hellboy, Raiden. Why they keep putting like either a DC character in a Mortal Kombat game or a Mortal Kombat character in one of their DC games, I don't know. Just keep them separate. Just please. Raiden, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all 4 TMNT characters. Darkseid, and who the hell is that? I can't tell. That might be Zatanna again, but you also have the Atom and Black Manta and Scorpion, and is that Red Hood? I can't tell. I can't even remember. It's been a while since I played this one, but it's absolutely fantastic, and it is an absolutely great fighting game. And then Mortal Kombat 11 came along and beat the shit out of this one too. They just keep getting better. Their games just keep getting better and better. So that's it for tonight. Give me a chuckle on that one. Is it supposed to mean something, Peter? I'm so tired right now. I can't. My brain's just like... Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's it for tonight. That is the first, like, more than 1/3 of... That's like a third plus another 40 games. God, I have a problem. Yeah, so that's the first third of my PlayStation 4 collection, as massive as it is. And it took forever to talk about it. It took over 2 hours. God damn. But the other 2 will probably be shorter because, like I said, I talked about extra games tonight than I would in the other streams. But yeah, like, I really need to get my ass in gear and start playing some of these games. I didn't. This video would have actually been a lot longer if I decided to include all these VR games I've been putting aside the whole time. PSVR is getting its own stream. That's all there is to it. But like I said, the PlayStation 4 is my favorite of the current gen consoles, and I'm really excited to see what the PlayStation 5 brings. Will it be as successful as the PS4? I don't know, even though they said that it's going to be backwards compatible with the PS4, so that's kind of cool. We'll see how that works out. I probably won't buy a PS4 5 until maybe a year after it comes out anyway. But yeah, that's a lot of games. I need to get my ass in gear and start playing some of these. So next week on Thursday, I will be back with part 2 of this series, part 2 of my PlayStation 4 collection. 7 o'clock Central next Thursday. And I'm going to try to work on some of these edited videos. I say that every time, and I just never get around to doing it. But I'm going to definitely try to work on that top 10 NES games response video for Captain Algebra. Got to do it. I got to get that out. Got to release some edited content. This is ridiculous that I haven't done anything since, like, January. Dumbass Chris. So keep an eye out for all this stuff on the channel. Also, don't forget to look for the Super Enabler Brothers podcast over on Corpse Flood Gaming channel, on the Corpse Flood Gaming channel. Me and Jason talk about everything. Games, movies, toys, everything. So go check that out. I am so tired. I just need to go straight to bed. So have a good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Wasn't a whole lot of talking going on, but that's cool. That's a lot of games I had to get through, so yeah. Everyone is streaming Streets of Rage 4 tonight. How boring. I want to play the game. I don't want to watch someone else play it. I just want to play it myself. Gotta wait for that physical edition to come out. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. I will see you next week. Don't lick any toilet bowls!